Hey everybody, it's Fiore Fremen, and today I'm going to start a series to walk new residents through the process of dressing an avatar. Okay, so let's just get started. This is my current avatar. Um, I think she looks pretty good. She's wearing some clothes, she's got some different layers, she's got skins, and this is a mesh body. So that will make sense to you here in just a second. So let's talk a little bit about the history of Second Life avatars. And before you're like, what, Fury? Why? It matters. It definitely matters. And I'm going to show you. Okay. This is Ruth. Ruth was the very, very, very first Second Life avatar. And the reason I have brought Ancient Ruth out is because I think that Ruth is an important learning tool for new residents to understand how to build a Second Life avatar. Okay, so I'm coming over here to the left and I'm going to click this little t-shirt. This t-shirt, in the Second Life viewer at least, will show me everything that my avatar is wearing. So if I click wearing, here are all the things that I'm wearing right now. So let me give you a quick history lesson. Ruth was the first, right? So here she is. I'm going to cam in here. She's like a 20-year-old avatar, guys. All right. And so what we're looking at, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that she's wearing. Okay. Her she's kind of potato-y, right? Like her shapes, like the shape of her body is sort of angular, you know, like it's kind of like rigid right along her breast line. You can see everything is just not as smooth, right? It doesn't look as realistic. You know, her skin tone, the skin that was used is not super detailed. Um but this was the original avatar. So let's talk a little bit about these things that you're seeing here, okay? So in order to create an avatar, we have to have some base things, meaning like you can't take these off. They're part of your avatar all the time. They will exist. You can change them into something else, but this is it, right? Like you have to have this on. Okay? You have to have a shape, which is like basically how the potato blob is supposed to look, right? We have a shape, and then that shape can be adjusted in the appearance of your avatar where it says shape, or and other viewers that might say like appearance, but it allows you to change the dimensions, like the height of your avatar, or how thick your avatar is, so you can tweak the little, like the way that the potato looks. I promise this is all relevant later, okay? Because what you guys really need to know is you are the potato. I know that you don't think that you're the potato. I know we don't want to be the potato, but no matter what, you're really the potato. And this will make sense here in just a minute. So hang in with me, okay? All right. So this is the shape, and you have to have a shape. Going back to my wearing here, you have to have a shape to have an avatar, okay? Next thing is you have to have a skin, meaning you can't not wear a skin. You have to. Like there's no way, your potato has to know what color to be, right? Because the computer that you're on has to know what it needs to res the potato as. So in this one, this potato is a lightly tanned skin. My Ruth has a lightly tanned skin on top of this thin shape here. Okay. Other things that you have to have. You have to have eyes, meaning you have to put something, you have to have a texture here on this. And I'm sure old residents are listening to me going, that's not true, but yes, it is. Yes, it is. We'll talk about that in a minute, but you have to have eyes. You can't get rid of them, no matter what. So that's like a base avatar. If I were going to take off what you're seeing here, these are called system layers, layers of these colors that you can, make your potato tinted in that specific place. So like what we're looking at here, this is potato. Like this is Ruth's actual body, this purple. If I were to turn to the side, you can see there's no like definition. Like this sweater doesn't, move around or anything like that. This is just like we painted on Ruth. We painted Ruth this black, or we painted Ruth this purple. Okay. And those are using something called system layers. This shirt, pants, socks, jacket, undershirt, pants. These system layers here, this is old school Second Life clothes. These are valuable too. So I know you're going, why do I care about all this old stuff? It matters because you can still use this stuff if you come across a cool system layer later. But think of this more like we're just literally painting on a color onto Ruth's body. The reason they're on different layers is because you can literally layer them on top of each other. So, like, her underpants and undershirt are obviously under the shirt and pants. So, if I were to take off this shirt, you now see her white undershirt. And if I were to take off this jacket, it'll res here in a second. But when you take the jacket off, then all you're going to see is the just the white undershirt. See? So now you don't even see your jacket anymore. Now, a jacket's a little weird. It's 2 layers. Um, it extends like all the way down here versus a shirt. Yeah, see, now you see it's like taking the second half off of her body. It's catching up here. I'm on mainland. All right. So here is Potato Ruth. We don't really care what Ruth looks like probably now. Because over the years, Second Life has changed the way that they do avatars. So specifically, I won't show you all of the detail, all the important stuff about all the different types of things that you might see, but we had something called sculpted prims, so it's like a basically this weird sort of prim file that kind of like comes out and sort of a lot of times they start out as like a little blob and then they pop into whatever shape it is that they're supposed to look like. People don't really use these anymore, but people used to use these sculpted prims. A prim that was not a standard size or shape to sort of make better definition, right? To make, maybe to say attach a sculpted prim skirt to Ruth, so Ruth could have, a different skirt on or something like that. Okay, people don't really use sculpts anymore, though, because we've moved into mesh over 20 years. Second Life is 20 years old. So let's talk about our potato and how we actually go from potato to something attractive. So the reason I said that you are Ruth no matter what you do is because in order to change the shape and definition of your avatar, you have to change the shape. So if I were to say, like I showed you guys here, when I come and I play with my numbers and stuff, I'm changing Ruth. I'm changing like the shape of what is underneath her. When people talk about mesh bodies, what you're doing is think about it's not to be creepy, right? Like not to make a creepy horror reference, but you're putting on skin,
It rubs the lotion on its skin.
right? Like think of it like it's like a body coat, you know? So like I am putting on a body, like a beautifully sculpted mesh body. I'm adding that. I'm going to put it on top of Ruth. And the reason I'm going to put it on top of Ruth is because when I adjust these numbers, the body that I am wearing will also be adjusted. Think of it like you're taking clay and squishing it on her body or something. So I'm going to right-click Body, Add. This is the most recent mesh body as of end of December 2024. Great. Okay, so here she is. I've put it on. This is the clay that we've squished. All right. So now I've basically squished my clay on top of it, but you can see that like it bleeds, right? Like you can see her, her breasts have come through on the top. You can see that, the legs like have bled through and stuff. But when you come up close, the curve and the shape of the avatar is much more natural on the body, not the head. So it's important to remember, right? Like, because for Second Life, the body and the head are separate. You've got your body and then you have your head. So just keep that in mind. The reason I'm also showing you like this is because if I move my shape sliders, it also affects the mesh, right? So the mesh body that I have on top, it'll make it taller and stretch it out the way that it needs to. Or, you know, bigger. Or even like if I come down torso, maybe I want to be more muscular. Or maybe I want to have larger breasts. You can do that too, or smaller breasts. So, but this isn't the way you wanna look, right? Like, you don't wanna walk around like this with this weird mishmash of these 2 sort of textures bled over the top of your Ruth body. So, let's put on our HUD. In my legacy HUD, it shows us a couple of things. The first is we can change the texture or the color of this mesh body that she has on. So I could make her, like, super pale if I want. Let's see here. And it'll change that texture. When we go from pale to any of these options that change the colors on top of the mesh, that's what's called an applier because we're applying a texture to the mesh that's on the body. Okay? I'm telling you this because this is even really kind of outdated. Most people don't use this method to change the way that their body skin looks anymore. Almost everybody is using something called baked on mesh. And what baked on mesh does is it reflects the skin and even the system layers of the shirts and the jacket and the pants and stuff that I showed you guys this here. Baked on mesh will reflect these things onto the mesh of the body. So you would see the sculpted details of this particular prim thing that, the bodysuit that she's wearing, but it would be the color of, say, Ruth's, tan skin here. So let's apply that to this body so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay. In the legacy HUD, it's under the style and you would click this little guy here and you'd click apply BOM. Every body is different, so there's a different way to apply the baked on mesh or the BOM. But this is how you would do it in this legacy one. And I'm just going to click that so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay. So now instantly Ruth is still this weird brown, of course. Oops. Ruth is still weird brown, but she has much more realistic definition. Her booty is a little bit more sculpted, I guess. She has yeah, ooh, you know what I'm saying? Like her arms are more sculpted. I can even add as like objects to her to add feet. Now she's going to have some feet. Yep, see, she's got toes and stuff, so that's much more defined. And then I could add some hands. Now she has hands. So, great. Awesome. She's much more defined. She's already looking better. So that's what you're seeing is the reflection of her skin. I'm sorry, her skin and these system layers reflected on top of it. So let's talk about another layer here. We have something called tattoo layers. And in there's lots of ways that you can get tattoos. A lot of people actually make tattoos on system layers as well as a tattoo layer. So this is a tattoo here. It's got this I don't know, it looks like a little I always think it's a dragon. I don't know what it is. But this is a tattoo layer, so you would be able to, apply this as well. And that tattoo layer can get added underneath the clothes. Obviously, right? Because tattoos are under your clothes.